Hi, my name's Keith Cooper from Northlight Images, and in this short video I'm going to have a look at the Epson ET-8550 for printing basic snapshots. Now I'm going to look at this from a point of view of wanting good quality images, so there is a difference between using some of the functions that are available with this printer and how I think I would use them to get pictures that I would be happy to show with people. Now remember, I'm a professional photographer, commercial photographer, so I have standards that I won't put out rubbish photos to people. I'm not going to say your opinions may vary, but I know that a lot of people just want a printer to basically quickly print photos. Well, this can do that, but I'm going to show some aspects where you can get better quality images. And in that respect, I've got a paper here. This is a double-sided photo paper from PermaJet in the UK. It's a 295 gram lustre paper. I've produced a profile for it, which if you get the papers from PermaJet, they will supply profiles anyway. And there are many other paper suppliers these days that will do profiles for you. And for optimal results from this or any printer, you need a profile that matches the paper. You can sometimes use one that is very similar. It's a bit hit and miss. You may get acceptable results, you may not. I'll always make a profile or try and find one for the paper, but it's entirely up to you if you want to experiment with this sort of stuff. Because unfortunately, because this is a consumer level printer, so it's a nice printer, ink tanks, whatever, and I've got some great photos from it, but it's a consumer level printer, which means that you're not going to get all the big paper manufacturers rushing off to make paper profiles for this printer. Now, hopefully, if people start using it a bit more often for higher end photo printing, companies will go, yeah, okay, we'll do some profiles, and that would be a wise move for some of them, because I think this one will do well. But anyway, I'm going to start off. Here's the paper. I've loaded it in the rear slot. I'll cover double-sided printing and other things via the cartridges here, the cassettes at the front here in a bit. But for the moment, all I'm doing is just loading it and printing it as a normal photo. And I'll just go to the computer where I'm using Epson Print Layout. And you can see I've selected media type Epson Premium Semi-Gloss, which is one that matches this particular paper. Rear feeder, I'm only going to do standard quality for this because it's actually perfectly good enough for most photo prints. And the only difference here, I'm using a profile that I've created, but I have created a preset specifically using the layout where I'm using the margins to offset the image. Now this is because I'm printing double-sided, and this is so I was printing images for a photo book where I want to bind them on one edge. So we've got one setting, I've got a setting where at A4 landscape print to the right, and I've an alternative one where I've got print to the left. This would be for the other side of the page. Now I'll do two prints here and swap the settings between them. But anyway, let's start this one with printing to the right. So here's the first of the two prints. I'm just waiting for it to come over. The tricky bit about double-sided printing is actually making sure you get the paper in the right way. Now, if you use the double-sided print feed here from the tray, then it handles it automatically. But there are problems with that in terms of quality. And I've found that using the rear feed at the back here gives you the kind of photo quality I'm after. I'm not happy with the kind of results I get from basic papers going through this. Now remember, this is a consumer printer, so it's widely aimed at a more general market that perhaps wouldn't be as critical as I am. It's my job. And I know that a lot of people want to see about using this printer for high quality images. I'm running it through at the standard setting here. Doesn't really make much difference for a paper like this. It's a high resolution image. It'll have no problem in printing. And here it comes out, and I can see I've got the wide margin at the leading edge here. the print ideally needs to be left a little while to dry between running through the printer. Some papers will be more fragile than others, but double-sided papers are not that common. I've built the profile for this one, available on request. When I've finished the review of this, the written review will have all the papers listed that I've produced profiles for. If you see a profile there you'd like to experiment with, by all means email me and ask for that particular one. They can't put them out for commercial use, so strictly for experimental use, but all the profiles I produce in this people can use to try. Now take this sheet, take it here and drop it back in there. And now print the second one. Now I'm changing this to different leading edge. And we'll print that one. There's the print we've made, long binding edge on this side, there's the other side. So, double-sided print. Now, that print looks fine. It's a good reproduction of the colours. There's some lovely deep blues in this, and in this one there are some deep sky blues and purples and other colours. Quite a tricky test, both these images, and they show a real difference between using a proper photo paper and a cheaper photo paper, or something with the wrong profile or just general settings. So there we go, we have two images that could be mounted in a book. Now you'll need to play around with the settings, the margin settings and other stuff like that if you've got different shaped images. And I would suggest that perhaps if you want to be more precise about it, then you may need to start noting down the settings for pages, particularly if you're going to have two pages facing each other. You don't want one slightly offset. Check the margins. It's all the information you want is there in the Print Layout software. Now, you might think, well, that's a lot of faffing about. Why don't I just use the double-sided print option? Okay, well, I have actually tried using the double-sided print option, and it's not necessarily that great. Now, printing on the Mac, there is, and I presume Windows as well, there is in the driver a double-sided print option. Now, I was just printing images from Preview, standard photo viewer. The option's there in the driver settings to print double-sided. So I thought, great, put some paper in. And it turns out this paper works fine in the print tray at the front here. So whereas I've got A4 plain paper loaded in here, you can put a lightish photo paper in. It won't take heavy art papers. You can put the paper in and it works fine. It feeds through okay. That's for a paper like this. And here we have an early example, and it's awful. It's washed out, the colours. I just put the two against each other. You should be able to see quite well, even though it's a cloudy day today, but the sun keeps coming out, so apologies for the changes in brightness for what you can see here. But I think it should be quite obvious how awful that is. Why is it so washed out? Well, it's partly because double-sided only allows you to choose photo quality inkjet paper as a media setting, and this is profiled at premium semi-gloss. It doesn't allow that. It allows you to do double-sided on plain paper, on a matte paper, and a basic, very basic photo paper. It doesn't allow better quality papers. Then I looked into the driver settings, and there is in the driver settings a reduce ink density for photos, and it had reduced the ink density by 50% in this particular image. That explains why that's so bad. So alright, I'll set that to 100%, so no reduction in ink density, and we'll see what it comes out like. Here's a version printed with the ink density set to 100. Well, it's better, but it's still nowhere near what it should look like. So when it comes down to it, it's a nice feature and it's aimed very much at a consumer level. The double-sided printing via the cassette here, it's probably great for some relative of yours to print out holiday snaps, but if you're interested in actually getting good quality photos, use them through here, use the proper feed. What about other photo papers printed on this? What about little ones like this? These are A6, which is almost 6x4. These are a photo paper. These are quite stiff photo paper, single-sided photo paper. These have also been fed through the top here. Now there is, and if I close this, put the tray in, there is a second paper feed here, and this one is specifically for smaller media like this. Okay, you think great, I'll just load up some photo media in here. Once again, the problem is if you have got thin photo paper that's not the best quality of photo paper, and this is quite a nice photo paper, it just doesn't feed. And all it does, if you put the thick stuff in like this, all it does is it jams. So if you want a basic photo paper, pop them in this feed here. Likewise, basic double-sided photo paper, you can put it in here, or single-sided photo paper, you can put it in there. But if you actually want decent quality prints, then I'm afraid it's the rear slot. Now I'll cover more of this when I do the review, but it's really, these videos are just to help give ideas of various uses of the printer. Please do feel free to ask any questions. I'll be doing some more of these as well, and if you find this useful, please do pass on the channel to other people who think might be interested in it. It is appreciated, but hopefully that's of some help. Thank you very much.